I did not wake up feeling too great today. We just went to a pharmacy and I got some medicine. I think I'm feeling better. Hopefully I'll be feeling well enough today to keep exploring. We are in Cayala, which is, I think that's near Zona 16. But yeah, we're on this path right now that has like lined with hydrangeas. We love hydrangeas and the city looks very pretty and traditional, so we're just gonna explore. So many hydrangeas in different colors.
Am I happy now? Are you happy now? Pictures might last.
So unfortunately, I just got worse and slept for probably like 4 hours. So we just ended up staying in the hotel yesterday. I really was not doing great, mostly just slept. Yeah. This trip has been a little rough yesterday and today. This is gonna be our first venture out soon to try to buy some recommended foods and like tea for stomach flu.
For myself, I also experienced it, but I think I'm definitely feeling better, which is good, but yeah, I'm still concerned for my life.
We've read the stomach flu is supposed to last between 24 and 72 hours, and I've already had it for more than 24 hours, so I'm really hoping at some point today I'll recover. We are back from Walmart. We've each already had a glass of this peach ginger tea that's supposed to help with digestion, which I feel like it actually is.
I think so too.
Still don't have a ton of energy, but I feel like this is at least helping with the stomach pain a little bit. So we're having dinner. Leftovers from yesterday. So far I've had rice for breakfast, saltine crackers for lunch, rice for dinner, which is not quite the culinary experience I was hoping for in Guatemala here. So we were discussing at dinner, we're just feeling a little bit discouraged about not having really been able to leave the hotel for 2 days. We want to wait until I feel better to leave, but then like we still want to stay in Guatemala City the first day that I'm feeling better, just in case it gets bad again. We'll be able to be close to the hotel. Really want to have been better for a full day before we think about going to Antigua, which I really want to do, because where the chocolate museum is, but I'm not even supposed to have sugar on the stomach flu, and Lake Atitlan, which is like a huge tourist attraction. That's like 2.5 hours away, so I'd really need to be a lot better for that. Hopefully things will get better. It's just not an ideal past 2 days. We think the culprit may have been that I ate some medium rare steak, and it was like at a nice restaurant, so I thought their meat would be fine, but I can't think of anything else that it possibly could have been. Mark ordered a medium steak. You have it a little bit, but not as much as I do. We didn't end up doing our like marriage devotional last night, so we're gonna pick back up today. Wow, day 2 is about intimacy. It's gonna get spicy while we're sick. They're just taunting us.
Spiritual habit, intimacy. I am my beloved's and my beloved is mine. Song of Songs.
6:3.
In the Garden of Eden, we get an up-close and personal point of view of God's intended intimacy to be when in a relationship with Him. He also created the first woman so that the man wouldn't be alone.
This is where we see God having a loving relationship with His children. It reveals to us how God intimately knows His children and their needs. It's a beautiful example of what a marital relationship should strive for. It's a relationship that's intimate and holy.
However, this is often not the case. Intimacy in marriage can be scary and difficult for many couples. Unfortunately, one reason this may happen could be from past hurt and pain. But be encouraged, because God is the healer of our past, so we can have intimacy we long for in our marriage. When there's godly and holy intimacy, it allows the marriage bed to be the place of pleasure and undefiled love. This is how marriage is intended to be and should be the goal to strive for. It's not always easy to open your heart and allow yourself to be vulnerable. But if you're willing to step out in faith, you'll be given the courage and the strength to do the work to have godly intimacy in your marriage.
The first step is to get real with God. Come to his throne with a humble heart, asking for wisdom and understanding, so you can have an intimate relationship not only with your beloved, but with God. The closer we draw near to the Lord, the closer he draws near to us, which allows us to draw closer to each other. Is there a past hurt that keeps you from having intimacy in your marriage? Are you seeking intimacy with God?
Yeah, for me, there have just been important people in my life who I've struggled to trust, and therefore I've just kind of shut down and not tell them anything that I'm going through. So I just do my own thing. Like a side effect of this, even though I recognize that, okay, this is different, my relationship with Kate is different, but there's been times where, maybe I failed in something, or I'm late at something, and so I kind of do my own thing without consulting or communicating with Kate. And so that's how it's been hurting our intimacy.
I've had that conversation before about like, I don't just want to hear like the good things, or hear like, last week I struggled with this bad thing, but it's over now. But to like actually talk about the bad things where they're going on. Shushu has definitely grown a lot in that.
Are you seeking intimacy with God? It's interesting. In that last part it says, the closer we draw to the Lord, the closer He'll draw near to us, which allows us to draw closer to each other. And I've always said that.
Yeah, you do always say that to me.
Like planets orbiting this main star, and then the closer we are to the Lord, by default, we also get closer to each other.
I'm feeling slightly better today, still not back to normal. This little area where we're hanging out is very cute. So we're going out for dinner tonight, which is good. This is gonna be my first attempt at a meal that is not rice or saltine crackers, and it actually sounds good, which is encouraging. Because the first night I was sick, Mark had to eat his food away from me because even the smell made me nauseous. We're gonna go to this crepe and smoothie place that we went to earlier this week that was super good, and it's like, those things actually sound good. So that's a big improvement. Don't have a ton of energy and still having stomach pains, but I'm hoping that maybe eating a normal meal instead of just rice and saltine crackers will be what I need to recover the rest of my energy. We've kind of given up on going to Lake Atitlan, which kind of sucks, because it's already Thursday and we're leaving like Sunday afternoon. So we're eating a normal lunch, which is great. Having normal food for dinner last night went super well. Things have been promising today. Not 100% back to normal, maybe like 90%. So we're thinking we're gonna go back to Cayala, maybe do some more exploring since we were there so briefly. Cayala, take 2. So on one hand, I heard no screaming.
Yeah.
That's awesome. On the other hand, I for sure saw some pale, sweaty dude get off of that zip line. So how much were you enjoying that, and how much were you terrified?
I think I enjoyed it 75% of the time.
Okay, that's good.
Terrified like 1/4.
Did you do any looking down?
Occasionally, I did look down. Each time I looked down, and then I was like, oh my goodness, this is terrifying. And then I looked forward, and then I looked around, and then it's like, okay, it's time for it to stop. To be clear, when I say I looked down, I didn't go, I did look down, and then it's like, okay, then it's like, oh my goodness, that's scary. So let me look to the sides where it's not as scary, and then it's like, oh, it's towards the end. I can just focus on that. Sometimes I suffocate at the end, and so I was just like, okay. Yeah, you get to see lots of videos of this pale, sweaty guy coming off with the zip line.
So we ended up getting a pita for dinner and cup here for dessert, which we are venturing back into the world of sweets, which the internet said not to do when you have a stomach flu, but I think at this point we're probably healthy enough. Yeah. Plus, it's our second to last day here, so. It's the last day of our devotional. Both of us are feeling much better. Thank goodness.
Spiritual habit, communication. Kind words are like honey, sweet to the soul and healthy for the body. Proverbs 16:2. If you ask any married couple what the secret to a godly marriage is, they would say, without a doubt, good communication. Unfortunately, this isn't always demonstrated by most couples. Instead, all too often, ungodly words are spoken in times of heated communication that bring pain. It takes many years to learn the skill of good communication. Ooh. And just when you think you got it, bam! You failed again.
Good communication isn't easy. The question is, why is good communication such a hard skill to achieve when it comes to marriage? The answer is the flesh. We have to have the last word or be right in those times when communication gets challenging and heated.
Today's passage tells us, kind words are like honey, sweet to the soul and healthy for the body. This is the best marital advice every couple should hold close to their hearts.
At that moment when you're about to step into the dark realm of speaking unkind, painful words to your beloved, you can easily speak words of honey. All you have to do is be the one to say something kind. Now that's sweet.
Do you speak words of honey or words of unkindness in a conversation with your spouse?
I feel like that's kind of a dumb question, to be honest. Do you speak unkind words or words of honey? Like, I don't really like those like black and white guilt trippy questions. I think they're kind of dumb. Sorry to the author of this devotional, but I feel like a better question would be like, how did Jesus demonstrate speaking words of honey? What ways do you need to grow in following his example? The first thing that came to mind to me was like when there was the woman caught in adultery. So basically like she was cheating on her husband and everyone wanted to stone her to death. Jesus said, he who is without sin, like be the one to cast the first stone. They all dropped their stones and walked away. And one thing I always found so interesting about that is Jesus never sinned. So like he could have been like, all right, he who is without sin, cast the first stone. And then everyone drops their rocks and goes home and like Jesus stones her because he's like, well, that's what I said. But that's actually not what happens at all. Like he actually goes and kneels down with her and asks her like, where are your accusers? He's like writing in the dirt. He's like stooped down to where she is. He eventually tells her go and sin no more, so it's not like he's just ignoring the problem. I like that idea, even though I guess it's not really words, it's more of the posture. Shushu is crying, then I can like lean in with you. That principle of like not beating someone up, or in this case it's marriage, so like not beating my shushu up when you do something wrong or inviting everyone I know to come throw stones at you and instead drop the stones, drop the antagonism and just be where you are and be like, hey, we're still together in this, but also if it genuinely was something wrong, how about, hey, maybe don't do that again. I love you. Jesus, how he communicates with us when we fall short and when we sin is just with love and mercy. He understands and he is able to sympathize with us. He realizes like, yes, we did sin, but he also shows us mercy and love. Oh, that's kind of one of our wedding Bible verses. It's Philippians 2, right? Sorry that as you've probably noticed, we don't have our phone stand with us. So you may feel like you're on a roller coaster or you're getting a little seasick from watching this video. Hopefully not too much.
Having a shoulder workout holding up.
Philippians 2:5. You must have the same attitude that Christ Jesus had. Though he was God, he did not think of equality with God as something to cling to. Instead, he gave up his divine privileges. He took the humble position of a slave and was born as a human being. When he appeared in human form, he humbled himself in obedience to God and died a criminal's death on the cross. I feel like that makes sense, like having humble attitude that Jesus had. Like it says he took the position of a slave. He's demonstrating a lot of humility towards us.
Like humility, and that's one of the things I've heard in many marriage podcasts that they all seem to agree on, is that a lot of guys and gals, I'm guessing, but I'm just targeting guys because I'm guy, want to win in a conversation. When there is some heated, if there's some conflict, is not to win. Their goal is to restore the relationship.